Let's go live now to the Shadow Home Affairs Minister, Kristina Keneally. Thanks for your time. As always, you heard your leader there being grilled about the issue of TPVs, temporary protection visas. Why doesn't Labor have this as part of your policy when you say that you're going to implement Operation Sovereign Borders in full?
Well, good afternoon, Kieran. Quite simply because since Operation Sovereign Borders was introduced, nobody goes on TPVs. If you attempt to come to Australia by boat, you will be turned back or you will be sent to Nauru. With all respect to Ray Hadley, he is dead wrong. People do not go on temporary protection visas if they attempt to come to Australia by boat. They get sent to Nauru.
So how does that work then, that transition? If that were to happen, what visa or otherwise happens there? How does that... What's the mechanics behind that?
They don't get it. They're not in Australia, Kieran. They do not receive an Australian visa, temporary protection or otherwise. There is an agreement in place with Nauru. They are transported by Australia to Nauru. They are not on an Australian visa.
So this does not undermine your commitment to Operation Sovereign Borders? It doesn't provide a chink in the armour?
Absolutely not. Operation Sovereign Borders consists of three key aspects. One, boat turnbacks were safe to do so. Two, offshore processing. Three, regional resettlement. Nobody has gone on temporary protection visas since the introduction of Operation Sovereign Borders. The only people on temporary protection visas are people that came under Liberal and Labor governments prior to the introduction of Operation Sovereign Borders. They are people that the Liberal government recognised as refugees. They have been living and working in Australia for more than a decade. They pay taxes, they employ Australians. They are not part of the Operation Sovereign Borders policy. They are not captured by that policy. To be clear, if you attempt to come to Australia by boat, you will not make it. You will be turned back or you will be sent to Nauru. And again, with the greatest respect to Ray Hadley, he is absolutely wrong. People who attempt to come to Australia by boat are turned back or sent to Nauru. They are not put on an Australian temporary protection visa.
What about those that were brought here under the Medivac arrangements? What was that, a TPV setup?
They are not on temporary protection visas. There are about 1,000 people who have been transferred to Australia from Nauru or PNG. Most of them have been transferred by the government, not by Medivac. So over 900 of that cohort have come transferred by the government, not by Medivac. But regardless of whether or not they were transferred here by the government or through Medivac, they are not on temporary protection visas. They are either in the country simply with ministerial permission, or they have been given a bridging visa in order to be here for medical treatment.